You're living in a very strange and dangerous world, young people. I'm going to preach to you on the subject, the first false religion and its foundation. I think that you'll recognize that some of the things that are happening in our world today have been happening in our world since it was created, since man first inhabited it. And if you know the truth about these things, maybe your generation can do something to help bring that truth to all men. The first human being born on this planet grew up to be a murderer, a reviler of God, apostate, and an active leader in the development of a materialistic, carnal, worldly religion. We have only two brothers in the world. These two men both founded a religion. There's still only two religions in the world today. There's the true religion that worships Jehovah, the God of heaven, and the way that God calls on us to worship Him. There's the other religion that's fathered by Satan, this world religion. And the Bible is called the way of Cain. And it's a way that is set forth in absolute opposition to God's truth about our relationship with Him and to the plan of salvation. The first sin the world ever saw in the Garden of Eden separated man from God. The second sin separated man from man. Here, only two brothers. And now they're separated to the point that violence takes place and death takes place. Satan is trying to separate men. And look at our world today. Battles all over that part of the world. Battles which on 9/11, 2001 touched our shores in this country. Both sides claim to be doing God's bidding. Both sides claim to be serving the God they love and care for. This sin that deceives people and divides men is frightening to Christians. It's frightening to see the misconceptions that can be created by Satan about God. Was when the suicide bombers, 19 men, talked to their leaders. They were asked, "Are you willing to give your life for the cause of the furtherance of the kingdom of God?" And these men said, "Gladly. Gladly we'll do that. Gladly we'll die, because there's a promise of a better life in heaven. There's a promise of a better life on the other side." You see, young people, false religion and true religion both have a promise of a better life on the other side. Both have a promise for a future that is outside the bonds of this earth. Do you see that this battle that was started here some 7,000 years ago in the Garden of Eden is still raging today? Do you see that you're going to have to come down on one side or another of this issue? This false religion was fathered by Satan through deception and through division. But it was furthered by violence. You don't have to read very far in the Bible to know that violence follows false religion. Here, men killing other men. The Bible tells us in James chapter 1, verse 14 and 15, "But every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust, and he's enticed, and that lust is conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it's finished, bringeth forth death." You live in a very violent society. You see, Satan, in his false religion, is given to violence. And he has to soften your heart and mind and conscience to violence, so that it's just second place to you, so that you can sit in front of a television set with a controller in your hands and shoot other people or cut their throats? Do you understand this world in which you live? Do you understand these two forces that are pulling at you every day, trying to change your life? God gave Himself for us. And yet at the same time, Satan has deceived many people on this earth. It's our job as Christians to tell the truth as it's found in this book. The truth about the God that